What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Tuesday, June 2nd. These picks apply for the DraftKings Showdown slate. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, real quick for those who don't know how these simulated slates work, everything works the same. You build a full lineup using the players available in the slate. The only difference is the fantasy points each player scores is a fantasy score from any game that player has played so far this year. Only players with at least 15 games played are in the player pool. Pretty simple. They just take a score at random from previous games that player has played, and that's it. So knowing how that works, we've added some tools to Draft Dashboard so you can see all the possible outcomes of scores from each player, and we show the percent chance that the player has to score in each point range. So pretty handy. You can hover over the Sim Scores button and see right here exactly what scores this player can get for this contest. It will be one of these at random, and then you can see what percent chance they have to score in these point ranges. Okay, remember, we have a daily cheat sheet for esports for League of Legends, and that's linked from the Sports tab right at the top of Draft Dashboard. And we now have a cheat sheet for Korean baseball, NASCAR, and the MMA, and you can find those cheat sheets linked from the Draft Dashboard news. Okay guys, let's take a look at this DraftKings showdown between the Boston Celtics and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going to start off by giving you the top value play on the slate, and really there's no good value on this slate. So I'm going to take a risk here with Robert Williams, projected at 15.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 15.3 times value. He's 1,000 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. So a lot of low-end risk here. A 52% chance of scoring 15 fantasy points or less. But he's a coin flip for crushing value here. He has a 43% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points and a 4% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points. So I'm going to roll the dice with those odds and just hope that I can get at least 15 fantasy points out of this guy. So I like Robert Williams here at 1,000 DraftKings salary. So with that value play, you're going to be able to pretty much play whatever player you want after that. So I'm going to go with Karl Anthony Towns in my captain spot. He's projected at 51.9 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.9 times value. He's 10,600 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 0% chance of scoring 15 fantasy points or less, a 6% chance of scoring 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 20% chance of scoring 30 to 45 fantasy points, a 51% chance of scoring 45 to 60 fantasy points, and a 23% chance of scoring 60 fantasy points or more. And that's the most 60 plus point upside on the slate by a long margin. So I like Karl Anthony Towns here at 10,600 DraftKings salary. Another player I like here is Gordon Hayward, projected at 34.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.6 times value. He's 7,400 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 7% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 27% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 48% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, an 18% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points. So I like Gordon Hayward here at 7,400 DraftKings salary. I also like D'Angelo Russell, projected at 40.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.5 times value. He's 9,000 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 2% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 16% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 42% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, a 38% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points, and a 2% chance to score 60 fantasy points or more. So I like D'Angelo Russell here at $9,000 DraftKings salary. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. So look guys, I know there's not a lot of sports playing right now, but we are posting a daily cheat sheet for esports for the League of Legends contests, and we just added these new DFS tools for the NBA simulated slates. We're going to be updating our tools to help you pick the best players for these sim sports, and I think these tools are going to give you a big advantage. There's no human element here. This is a stats game. This is a math problem. This is where our tools can really help you identify the numbers, the percent chance these players are going to score within these point ranges, so you know what you're getting into with each pick. I also like Marcus Smart, projected at 30.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.5 times value. He's $6,800 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 4% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 48% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 38% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, an 8% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points, and a 2% chance to score 60 fantasy points or more. So I like Marcus Smart here at $6,800 DraftKings salary. I also like Jason Tatum, projected at 42 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.3 times value. He's $9,800 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 0% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 15% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 53% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, a 25% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points, and a 7% chance to score 60 fantasy points or more. So I like Jason Tatum here at $9,800 DraftKings salary. Now, in terms of captain, I would much rather play Karl Anthony Towns at captain for only $800 more. You can see the 60 plus point upside. You're getting 23% with Karl Anthony Towns and only 7% with Jason Tatum. So just keep that in mind. Okay, the last two plays that I like here are Jaylen Brown, projected at 34.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.3 times value. He's $8,000 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 0% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 27% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 59% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, a 14% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points. So I like Jaylen Brown here at $8,000 DraftKings salary. And then I like Kemba Walker, projected at 37.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.2 times value. He's $8,800 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 4% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 28% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 38% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, a 24% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points, and a 6% chance to score 60 fantasy points or more. So I like Kemba Walker here at $8,800 DraftKings salary. So I just want to recap my strategy here. I'm going to play Robert Williams at min salary for only $1,000 DraftKings salary. He's got a 48% chance to score 15 fantasy points or more and crush value. He'll be a nice play if you can get at least 15 fantasy points from him. And that opens up your salary so that you can fit in pretty much all the rest of these studs here. You can fit in Towns, Hayward, D'Angelo Russell, Marcus Smart, and Jason Tatum. So take a look at that lineup at the end of this video. I think it's a pretty solid lineup. You just got to hit that coin flip on Robert Williams and you'll be looking pretty good. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck. Okay guys, if you're getting any value from this video, please hit that red subscribe button. We put out new fantasy basketball videos every single day. So if you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification, you won't miss out on any of our new fantasy basketball and fantasy football videos. Tons of free stuff coming your way. It only takes a second, and it helps us push out more fantasy content for you guys to consume each and every day. It's because of you subscribers that make this possible. So thank you for supporting this channel. This is a quick reminder, you should be reading the comments of this video. We have some savvy basketball fans who watch these videos, and they often give great plays and call me out when my picks are wrong. Wisdom of the crowd is a great way to get a feel for what players the field likes in today's NBA slate. We also have a DFS tool that shows you what players our members like for today's slate. So you can come on in and check that out.